Dibalang sanwanani Kgosana khanyale lesedi re alocha. Greetings over the diaspora to those that do not speak the languages that we speak. Welcome back, Wake and Bake Gang, Stoners United, the queer and conscious, the black queer and conscious, knowledge seekers, knowledge collectors, Togoza Gogo Gang, Makosi Gang, Terracotta Gang, the chakra hands, the yoga hands, everybody, as long as we're all here in love and light. Welcome everybody, spiritual G's, what's up? So today is gonna be a little bit different because we're experiencing a little bit of technical issues, but the intended episode will hopefully be up on Thursday because we won't have a Sacred Connection episode. But let us get into today's episode. Hopefully you'll bear with us. And from the last episode, we said we're going to be starting our episode with the sacred names of our principle that we are in, the principle of Heru. So I'm just going to go through a few things, and hopefully this will be a very short episode, but I just want us to touch on these when we go deeper into the principle of Heru. So when we're speaking of this Netta, Heru, the one that is responsible for the ascension, the initiation, the exaltation, the coming into our God self. Let us remember all these sacred names that we give to Heru. So, umphatlo wakhe uthi, beloved Falcon rising from the deep, Lord of the great flood, may you keep me sound. You are the winged soul of the southern sky, Jehuti in the northern sky. O eldest one, come to Teb, your divine house. O youngest one, come to Per Asar, your birth house. So before we get into the sacred names of it, so remember our principle of Heru is truly an energy dynamic that brings courage and confidence to one's conviction. So we're going to go into the sacred names in Medu Nature, and I will reach out for my Sesotho and my Nguni languages just to give a little bit of translation. But yeah, with the languages, with our Bantu languages, they're just a direct translation. Not a direct translation per se, but it's not explaining the Medu Nature part of it. But yeah, I think let's just stick to the one language, right? Yeah, because it doesn't really translate, doesn't give the Nguni or the Sotho names for the word. So these are the chant of the sacred names of our divine principle of Heru. I will explain a few, the ones that we're going to be dealing with a lot. So we have first Heru Hekennu, which is Heru, the son of Bastet. Heru Behutet, which is Heru the young, Heru of the southern heaven. So now when we get to the Behutet, this is the temple name of Heru as a consort to HetHeru, which is the principle that we speak of when we're speaking of the time of unions, of love, of heightened sensual energy, right? And then we have Heru Taui, which is Heru uniter of the two lands. And in our first episode, we spoke of how the Sphinx at Giza would be a representation of this Heru character, this characteristic of Heru. But we will go deeper when we go on to our next Heru episode. And then we have Heru Aakhuti, which is Heru of the two horizons, which ties in to Heru Taui, which is also tying it back to our Sphinx, right? The lion body with the human head, with the godly head, with the royal head, with the regal head, right? And then we have Heru Nub, which is Heru the Golden, triumphant of Set. So which is the name that is used for the temple of Dendera. Remember the temple of Dendera? This is the temple where the zodiacs, as we speak of them, were developed, drawn on the roof of this temple place, right? And with the golden color, I know we said we are the season ki yellow, but some of us have been using the gold candles, and also the scepter, or the metal that is aligning us with the season is the gold metal, right? And yeah, so also if you looking for the yellow candles and you're not finding, which is highly unlikely, the yellow candle is very common, but you can use the golden candle as well, because gold as a color, we'll go into that one when we do our next Heru episode. I just must not forget. And then the next sacred name is Heru Mut-ef, which is Heru the Divine Mother. We have Heru. Yeah, so this is the name of the duality principle that we see, Heru, right? And then we have Heru Merti, which is Heru of the two eyes, the sun and the moon. So our episode after the next one, we're gonna go into the two eyes, the eye of Horus, the eye of Horus, also referred to as the eye of Auset, and also the eye of Ra. So which is now represented now with Heru with the two eyes, the sun and the moon. And we're going to speak of the falcon and the hawk in that episode. And then we have Ihi, which is the love principle, or the element, the love, where it also relates to HetHeru, which is beloved, the beloved of HetHeru. And then the next one, we have so let me just go a little bit deeper into that. So Ihi also would be the product, this union or the energy dynamic between Heru and HetHeru of Adintera. And then we have Heru Khart, which is Heru the silent one when we translate it from the Medu nature, but it is Heru the divine child. So when we refer to the divinity, remember the principle that we come from, which is the principle Nebtet. This was Nebtet rising this child, this royal child, into divinity. And when you when you inspect the Abrahamic religion of Christianity, this is where now, remember this child that was raised hidden in the reeds. So this is the divinity that is referred to here, this divine child, Heru Khart. And then we have Heru Shu. So Heru the Great, descendant, inheritor of Shu. So Shu, this is our principle, our air principle. For those who are able to watch the creation story, we touched on Shu a little bit. So Heru is also a descendant. Yes, a great down there. Yeah, so Shu would be the ancestor in this. And then when we go down with the creation, this is now this descendant and the inheritor of Shu. Then we have Heru Khart, which is Heru, descendant, inheritor of Ra. Right, so Ra is the ancestor in this, and Heru now comes as an offspring to this, or the reincarnation of Ra, which is another rendition of the sun. We're going to get into these names when we do the next Heru episode, because I want us to touch on the four names, where now we have Ra going into the depths of how we unpack the exalted name Ra Atum Harachte Kepri, which also deals with the four positions of the sun. Yes, the four positions of the sun, the Heru, now in divinity, or the energy of the sun. Yes, the energy of the sun through different times of the day. And then we have Heru Hennu. So Heru, Hennu, which is Heru the Falcon. I think that one is self-explanatory. And then we have Heru Khent Peru, which is Heru, ruler of the heavens. So do not forget also the animals that are associated with this, which we're going to be delving into on our next two episodes on the Heru principles. And then we have Heru Sa Auset, which is Heru, the son of Auset, Isis, Mudimu Me Unomkuvulwane. Then we have Heru Sa Asar, Heru, son of Asar, which is now, when we're going down this tree from Shu to Gebenut to now the descendants, to now also delving back into the mythology, those extra days that were formed, or the offspring to that. So Heru is the descendant of Ra, so the sun in its full form and the reincarnation of that. So those are the sacred names that we refer to Heru. I'm just going to go through all of them at once since we already did the explanation. So we have Heru, son of Bastet, Heru, son of the southern heaven, Heru, uniter of the two lands, Heru of the two horizons, Heru the Golden, triumphant of Auset, Heru of the divine mother, Heru of the two eyes, the sun and the moon, beloved, which is Ihi, Heru the silent one, Heru the divine child, Heru the Great, descendant of Shu, Heru, descendant inheritor of Ra, Heru the Falcon, Heru, ruler of the heavens, Heru, son of Auset, Heru, son of Asar. So Ankh and Ma'at, those are the sacred names or the sacred chants that we do in our time of Heru. And please don't forget, this is the principle of ascension, the principle of mastery. So we will expand even more on these principles and delve a little bit into the mythology of it as well on our next episode. So yes, I do. Should I make a promise? Yeah, okay. I will, on Thursday, we'll have a Heru episode since we now have sacred connections. So Ankh and Ma'at, happy today. Thank you so much for bearing with me with these technical glitches. But sizobuya, very fast. Ankh and Ma'at, happy today.